Welcome back to TLT Talks. We have a very, very exciting guest for you, a rare part two. It was so good last month. The guest was so exciting, so special, so knowledgeable that we brought him back for a second month in a row. Let me just give you a reminder. This guest is a 2 times TEDx speaker, a former professor, an award-winning writer, featured as a top coach in multiple different media. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen,
Hi,
the one, the
Eugene.
only, Mel Klein. How's it going?
It's going well. Thanks for having me. I was
I love it.
so looking forward to this.
Ditto all month. I was like, oh my God, I gotta wait. It's like when you watch a show, the younger generation, they don't know what it was like to watch an episode and wait a whole week for another
Yep,
1 hour episode and then wait a whole week. Everything is now a binge watch. You get the whole season at once. So I
yep.
feel I feel like I had that. I feel like, oh my, I gotta wait a whole month to get a part to do this again. But we're here now. That's what's important. We're here now. We're here now. So do you want to remind our audience, just give them, I was just praising your
Oh, thank you.
resume, your TEDx stuff, your 25 years of excellence, your professorship, your top coach in multimedia. I mean, I could go on and on, but why don't you share a few things about yourself, and then we can jump right into part two.
Yeah. Well, first of all, everybody excuse me. I'm getting over a sore throat, so I'm a little
Mm.
gravelly today. But I was so looking forward to this because what I want to say is I've been doing this work, and what I mean by this work, so professional and personal development, for a very long time, for over 3 decades. And what's so exciting to me about you, Eugene, is we had said last time that the minute that we met, I was like, oh, okay, game recognized game, dude. Here we go. And I love doing this work. I think that's one of the
Yeah.
most important things that I can share. It is my life's mission. It is my life's joy. I love doing it with people who are equally excited. So to have the opportunity to create some synergy with you and hopefully have that be something that people who are viewing leave with and it impacts their life, I just couldn't think of a better way to spend time.
Oh, it's so great. Well, let's remind them or a new one, whatever you want. We love to have a good time. Give us a fun fact.
Oh, okay. So, in case people don't remember, a fun fact is that I used to be almost a professional prank crank caller back in the
So
90s.
good.
So,
So
before there was
good.
caller ID and all of this stuff, I would come home from college and, we did not have the internet. We didn't have any of that going on. And so, my best friend and I used to crank call and we would record those crank calls. And I had a whole cast of characters. And some of the crank calls went on for years to the point that people looked forward to when they received my call.
Oh, that's fantastic. We might have to do a part three. I said it last time. We might have to do a show just on
Right?
prank call. There's some way we could tie that into personal development and pushing the
Yeah.
comfort zone. We could tie
Yeah.
that in somehow, some way.
Yeah.
So for anyone that watched the last show, you might remember we talked about fuzzy targets get missed. We talked
Yep.
about clarity's power. We talked about being really in tune with the kind of year you're going to have. Do you want to do like 30 seconds just on the 3 types of year? Just a quick reminder.
Yeah, I think when people oftentimes are goal planning, if they don't ask themselves whether they want a year where they're just stoking and fueling momentum, whether they are growing or whether they're creating a quantum leap, if you don't consider that question first, oftentimes people will set goals that just don't, that are misaligned, and that
Yeah,
sets them up for failing or potentially kind of really digging into that, oh, it
yeah,
doesn't work narrative. So I always tell people, I think that's one of the first questions that you need to ask is how you're going to be
yeah.
approaching the new
So
year.
good. So
Yeah.
good. And what comes with it, like if you're going to have a
Yeah.
quantum leap year, I mean, get ready to hustle. If it's going to be a just execution continuer, not to say that's not hustle, but it's very different vibe
Yes.
to a quantum leap year. We can ask
Yes.
Robert Refkin all about. I don't know that Compass knows another type of year. I think
Right.
all they
That's
got
true.
is. I think they only have quantum leap years. I don't think they have another gear. I tend to be similar, although for the probably first time in my intentional history, we are not doing a quantum leap year. We are doing an execution year. We had quantum leap last year, and we're like, man, we built a bunch of great stuff. Let's go use the stuff. Let's go use it,
Right.
execute it, make it better. Let's have an execution year. I know, we're gonna have natural improvements everywhere, just that's our DNA.
Yeah.
But like, let's start building stuff. Let's go play with the toys. Let's go actually play with the
Which
toys and
is
use them.
huge. And
Yeah,
I will say, some people feel like when I ask that question, they almost feel like they should be wanting a
yeah,
quantum leap year. And I actually want to say there's something really potent about fueling the momentum and executing what you've created.
totally,
To
totally.
me, I think we all need to, at some point in our growth process, to make sure we're having enough of an exhale. We're
Yep,
not just constantly inhaling and inhaling and inhaling and going.
totally.
And so, quantum leap years, like, they're legit powerful and exciting, but they really do take a lot out of you. Like you said, it's the hustling, it's the continuity. But to be quite honest, what I find is the biggest part of a quantum leap year is truly like the energy in your body, what you're holding in your body, how you're
Yeah,
keeping your mindset steady. I feel that's where things usually start to break, and that needs to be really strong if you're going to go ahead and go the distance in a quantum leap year.
totally. Well, and what a great transition, right? Like, there's this. Just to finish on that point, there's this, saying that gets said all the time: knowledge is power. I don't believe that. Knowledge is potential power. It's usage of that knowledge. It's execution. That's where power is. You could be the best red person in the world
Yes.
from your room. Well, so
Yeah.
actually, that's a really great transition. So I love what you just said, because there's this phrase we use in our team all the time: success leaves clues. And I didn't make it up. Obviously, it's one of the many things you hear people, in the coaching world and in the
Yeah.
development world, people use that phrase. So you're like knee deep in the trenches of working with successful people, and whether
Yeah.
that's at a peer level, or that's the people you coach, or the people
Yeah.
you meet through your, different walks of life. What do you see? What do you see as the common patterns of successful people?
So I'm going to go micro first and then I'll go macro as I do, as we do. So I think on the micro, like giving specific details, and prepping for this, I thought to myself, one of the things that I find really is a clue to someone's success, first of all, is the way that they hold their word, right?
Mhm.
First of all, their commitments to themselves, their commitment to others, how they say things, you know what I mean? The intention and the meaning and the depth behind what they say is so powerful. I can definitely test at the time that I was doing all my prank calls and like all the other rando stuff that I was doing,
Mhm.
I did not hold my word. People
Mhm.
knew that if they made plans with me, more than likely I would probably change my mind or I would flake. And so for me, even today, like I had a sore throat yesterday, and I was like, unless I literally cannot speak, I'm going to be doing this call with Eugene. For
Yeah,
me to hold my word and to maintain my commitments is huge. So I think that's a big thing. And to be quite honest, I think people need to start with, first of all, examining how they, what they commit to themselves. So I'm always telling my clients, whether I'm working with them one on one or if I'm the group, at the beginning of it, I'm like, what are going to be your commitments to yourself that actually then uphold your intentions? When we create a declaration, that's something really, really powerful because we're setting up, essentially it's like a vow that we're entering a relationship with the goal, with the vision, with ourselves. So I find successful people are doing that consistently and they're really relentless about that. The other clue is, you were saying you can be the smartest, most well-read person in the room, but if you're not executing, it doesn't mean anything. And for me, I went to a private school as a blue collar kid, which was really interesting and challenging. And I went to school with some very educated, intellectual people, but I found that nobody really had any street smarts, which I
Mhm.
did.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like a similar analogy. Like if you're in an ivory tower and if you're thinking and just philosophizing, that's different when you're out there in the field, in the streets, making it happen.
Totally.
And successful people, they're not just musing and ruminating about things and making them sound like they're intelligent, or they're not just claiming that they understand something. They're constantly taking information and they're immediately putting it into action and they're using it. So
Yeah.
that's really powerful.
Yeah, that's actually one of the eight principles of Compass is learn from reality. What actually where I mean I rave about Rob Rifkin all the time, but one of the things Rifkin does really really great, like an Amazon, like an Apple, like a Google, he's just not afraid to fail. There's just if you
Mhm.
spend your time in process analysis, by the time you get to market, that's it. The window's gone already. Someone and things shift so quickly. So one of the things I love about Compass, which is originally Urban Compass, red backpacks, rentals only,
Yep.
territory only, now we just did a thing about, Compass used to be everywhere. Now it's anywhere too, because now it's this 300,000. I mean, we're the Con Ed of real estate now, so to speak. And so this idea of, getting in action and actually doing things. And yeah, it's so funny. So our number one team value, the
Hmm.
Litvak team number one value is do what you say. It is shocking
Yeah.
that is no longer a standard, that is now a luxury and a commodity. Like and especially in the real estate industry, if you're talking with a real estate agent, whether it's peer to peer, I'd like to show your
Yep.
listing, or I'd like to list my house, or I'm looking to refer you to someone, and the real estate agent says, I'm going to call you back by 4 o'clock, or I'll get you a comp report by noon tomorrow. The percentage of time that actually happens is shocking as compared to other industries. It's crazy. Like, we just have no, and what
That
that
is
rhymes with,
painful,
yeah, yeah,
painful for
yeah,
me to hear,
yeah,
because
yeah.
I mean, there's so much in what you said. First and foremost, one of the things that I thought to myself, for going back to what are some of the clues around successful people, another way of looking at it is when an idea comes, when a new sort of innovation or strategy. I immediately, with myself, with my clients, is like, great, how do we immediately take
Mhm.
this thing that is in the conceptual phase and take the first action to
Yep,
literally pull it into the
yep.
world and make it happen? You just have to start small. But the people who get stuck, first of all, it is painful for me. I just can imagine what it feels like, because I remember having something that you want and not having the ability, for whatever reason, that's a longer story,
Hmm.
about not bringing it into the world.
Yep.
It's so foreign to me now, even though that was my default. For me
Hmm.
now, when an idea comes, it is a clue, it is a knock on the door that, great, here's your next action. And that I take it for granted. You probably take it for granted too, that because you have a really amazing team, you have wonderful people around you, you've done so much growth work, that everybody operates that way. But when you look around, it's like, no, that this is actually a standard of
Yeah.
excellence. This
Yep.
is the people who like are going to rock with the best. They're going to
Yeah.
do the things, and it's available for everybody if they
Yeah.
just understand that is an option for
For
them to
sure.
do.
For sure.
But it's freaking powerful to do
Do you
that. Like,
know,
to
first
me,
of
it's
all,
exciting.
yeah, first of all, good for you, because that's not an easy bridge to cross, to go from
Yep.
this is not me to this is me. There's a whole world of things that have to happen in between. And yeah, what I find, what's interesting, until there's a physical mastery, nobody's born with, I'm just going to go crush everything. Like, nobody's born that way. You've got to
Yes.
develop those muscles like anything else.
Yes.
And what's interesting is people that are successful face all the same things. And by successful,
Yeah.
I don't just mean lots of money. I mean the signs of
Yeah.
achievement in whatever,
Right.
sports, life, family, stay at home, whatever, all the different stuff. The people that do it or the people that don't do it, they face all the same things. Just some people push through because they're not just interested, they're committed. They've got a reliability, they've got a word to themselves, they've got despite challenge, I will push through anyways. And
Hmm.
then the other people, they just don't have that gear. They're like, I'll do it as long as it's comfortable, or until there's a challenge, or until it's
Yep.
comfortable enough, or whatever. And we were talking before, as far as like do what you say. What most people fail to realize is that keeping your word piece is directly tied to reliability. And the second you break your word to
Yes.
yourself or
That's
someone else,
right.
even just once, that's it. Now you're branded scarlet letter, unreliable,
Yes.
unreliable. And once that letter's there, man, it's so hard to ever bounce away from that. Like, once you're branded unreliable, it can take decades to like earn that. My dad used to tell me when I was a kid, trust is like a
100%.
vase. Once it breaks, it's virtually impossible to glue it back together. That's kind of what reputation is. And so whether it's to someone else or to yourself, even like if you decide you want to do, I don't know, meditation, morning routine,
Yeah.
whatever, the first time you let yourself negotiate with yourself and not do it,
Yeah.
it's like a signal that, oh, that thing's unimportant. I can negotiate on that thing. No one like leaves the house and doesn't get dressed or doesn't brush their teeth. Those are standards. Those are like standards. I
Well,
just
that's
find
that's relative, right?
I just think, for like, in large part, I think successful people just have standards,
Yeah.
more standards. They just, those certain things are standards that they don't negotiate, and nobody's perfect. You're gonna miss sometimes, but like, there's just a standard that they keep their word to themselves and others more so, and they're willing to push through the challenges. But actually, that's a good transition to something you talk about that I found so interesting. everyone eventually is going to reach a point of challenge, fear, some resistance.
Hmm.
And you have a thing that's like one of your Sistine chapels is your terror barrier work. I just think that's so fascinating. Can you speak to that a little
Yes. And you
bit?
know I'm going to go back to what you just said because I was like, that is so golden. First of all, I love that your dad gave you that analogy of that vase because I think
Hmm.
for us to have visuals, I really like to speak in pictures. It's
Hmm.
so easy for us to understand, right? So
Yep.
that's really cool that he gave you that gift early on. The other thing is, before I came into this interview, I was teaching my Master Your Money Mindset group that I have, and one of the things that we focused on today was our non-negotiables and our tolerations. So
Hmm.
I also want to give that language, which is what are we tolerating, right? And which is why it's so important to actually create a commitment to ourselves, because to then have a toleration and to deviate away from the commitment really speaks to a larger story about how we feel about
Right.
ourselves. And I
Right.
think that is a really important thing for us to look at, which is why am I tolerating this? Why am I willing
Yeah.
to negotiate these standards, like you were
Hmm.
saying, or these commitments? That is then the work that you have to do. That's
Yeah.
the repair work in order to have those things solidified. The other thing I wanted to say, which is why I love having these conversations with you, and it was you were very impactful when I met you because it was so clear to me. I mean, I can see it in an instant when someone has legitimately deep dive into the work consistently,
Yeah.
right? And again, those clues, because
Yeah.
you said just because we do that, we're all regular folk. We were not born with the ability, like you said, to just come out and like crush everything. That I am so keenly aware of what I've done and what my clients do in order to create and to cultivate that. So when I meet people out in the wild who have also done the same, I cannot even express how meaningful that is for me. It is like I feel like I'm meeting like my kindred
Yeah.
spirits, my kin, where I'm like, hey, I know you have walked through the
They're like, I
wilds.
know you know.
Yes. And it's so powerful and it's exciting for me because I really want to see people win. My greatest sort of mission is for all of us to have the ability to dig deep and move beyond, right, the boundaries that we've created for ourselves that have been imposed on us, because I feel like when we do that, we have the keys to liberation and we really have the opportunity to see what we're truly authentically capable of, and that is so deeply satisfying, right? That is
Yeah.
that success in all
Yeah.
the forms. So
Yeah.
it's powerful, and I just always appreciate what you do for your team, the fact that you take the time to have these conversations. It's deep work, so thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And the resistance is always going to come at
Hmm.
any level, and like you didn't create that whole thing about like getting it done, etc. But for me, the terror barrier is something that my own coaches have talked about, which is part of the mechanics of growth. You can expect, it's either called new levels, new devils, or the terror barrier, which is you have to understand if you are going to grow, you are inevitably going to come across, right, an upper limiter or the top of what you think is possible. You're going to reach your capacity or what you think your capacity is at the moment. You will butt up against imposter syndrome. Just talked about that this morning in my cohort. You're going to come up a feeling in your body that makes you feel that this is reckless or unsafe. And I feel as long as you can intellectualize, you can understand this is part of the equation of the up level, you can create a new relationship with it. So
Yeah.
when I feel it coming, I now am so familiar with the feeling that it
Hmm.
tends to be a little smaller. It's a little less, you know what I mean, jarring than it used to be. But I'm like, oh, great. There it is. Here is a new mile marker letting me know that I'm well on my way to my next level, and I embrace it. And I recognize it is just a sensation in my body, and if I don't feed it and if I don't fuel it, it has a 90-second lifespan. And then I'm able to move to the other side. So I'm really talking to people about not only understanding that this is the mechanics of an up level, right? The resistance, but also being able to learn how to relate to it differently, how to create a reframe mentally, but also how to manage what's happening in the physical body. Because I think that's where people get stuck. They think just about mindset and they forget that the nervous system is literally freaking the frick out, and that they have to learn how to ground, how to breathe, how to relax, how to ride it. and then they can move to the other side. And that's, it's not easy. It's very simple, but it is not easy. We
That's
really
so
have to be
true.
willing to be in it, you know?
Yeah, so true. Do you know one of my favorite phrases is the quality of your life will be in direct proportion to how comfortable you can be being uncomfortable,
You've
right?
always got the great
So
phrases. I love
it's
it.
now I'm just a good synthesizer. I do my part in
Yeah.
finding it all, and then I'm not trying to say that it's my own. And yeah, man, but it's so true. Like the truth is, this is where we talked about, success versus unsuccessful. Anyone that looks to do anything new, there's gonna be a moment where it says exactly what you say. I don't know it. There could be a fear of failure or a fear of success. Both are equal. Well, if I do win this business, then oh my God, I have to hire people and I have to do this work. And when am I gonna see my family? Okay, great. Like, but you've won. And then, there's also what I see a lot, especially with my agents. I mean, from a lot of the coaching work I do, especially with my agents, there's a whole world in between. All the way over here, you have just swing it. Let's just go. We'll figure it out along the way, et cetera, et cetera. And then all the way over here, you have Yellow Brick Road. Every single step is accounted for. And all the way over here at Yellow Brick Road, you have massive process analysis. If I don't have it all built out, I can't get started. And
Yes.
all the way over here, well, let's just swing it. You get stuck in the tyranny of how. Yeah, but how am I going to do it? And what I would love to say to everyone watching, and what I say to the people I get to coach personally, there's a whole world in the middle. There's a
Oh,
whole world in the middle. Like when we
yeah.
walk, like when we're driving to a new destination, we see the path we're on, but then it's going to say make a right, and you don't know what's around the corner. You just know
Correct.
you're going to make a right, and then you'll figure it out. You got to go this way now. And so, it's fine to have a blueprint, and that's fine. And again, anyone that's ever walked the path, the path
Yeah.
does not stay the same ever. Whatever you plan will shift
Heck
a million
no.
times. And so there's this whole world in the middle. And if you're one of these people that's afraid to get started, you're bogged down by the tenure of how, maybe just create the first 3 steps and then
Yes.
burn the boats, get rid of any excuses, get rid of any plan B, rock and roll. And the Yellow Brick Road people, maybe for your own peace of mind, design the Yellow Brick Road, but only worry about the first 5 steps. The rest you can leave as
Oh,
adjustable.
so
But
good.
either way, find your way to the middle to execution, right? Like what a muscle and a rare muscle now. Execution is like just go. It's okay to have the fear. By the way, I thought what you said was so powerful about imposter syndrome because at every level exists. You look in the mirror,
Oh,
you're like,
yeah.
or you're not looking in the mirror, metaphorical look in the mirror. You're like, am I really that person? Am I really capable of that? And if you're not doing it consciously, it's there in the subconscious or whatnot.
Yeah.
And it's like, just avoid the labels. Like, who
This
cares?
is this is what you're feeling right now.
That's
This is
it.
a
Yeah.
sensation in your body right
Yeah.
now, and and it will pass. First of all, that I love that so much. The Yellow Brick Road people and the haphazard winging it and that place in the middle, like
Yeah.
that was the perfect picture I think to paint for people because I mean, spot on. That is, I know what you've done, what I've done. It's like,
No.
yeah, there's an intention. There's, having some level of deliberation about the next step, mostly having a sense of the vision and then kind of like finding the road on the way, but not getting too stuck because yeah, people legitimately, they'll do all these things, but freaking get in front of people. They're happy to do all the computer work, but they just don't want to be out there. Or the other people, I'm like, they are just freaking, I'm like, we need to ground you a little bit more. But the
That's
people who
right.
find the sweet spot, and I
That's right.
think that's the other thing, that sweet spot, if we call that place in the middle, is constantly changing. And so
Hmm.
having a sense of awareness and attunement and knowing yourself and your responses, it's like, it truly is like riding a wave or skiing where you're like, you have to so intimately be able to feel what's going on, or dancing, or you play tennis, right? And you get
Yep.
into that flow state. It is so powerful, and to trust that you found the sweet spot. And I think that is what makes it exciting. And I think brings us full circle to what my macro point was going to be when you asked me
Hmm.
what are, some of the clues of success. The macro sort of clue of success is people who are consistently, we got to add that in, consistently and sustainably successful by whatever measure are the ones who are excited about the fucking process.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And
Oh
I
yeah.
almost didn't throw the F bomb, but I had to
Nah,
because
that's
that's
F-bomb
good.
worthy. That's F-bomb
It is
worthy.
F bomb worthy. Yeah, they look at it. What they've done is they have reset their relationship with their life and their business, and they don't look at as there is just one place to go. Or as you and I were talking about before this call, you were talking about having a finite perspective on things, that it's like, when this happens, then, or just got to get there. And then it's like,
Mm-hmm.
no, life and business is dynamic.
Yep.
There's a sense of vitality. There's a sense of joy. It is alive. It is a living, breathing entity. And they are exhilarated and sometimes challenged, of course, but they're
Mm-hmm.
exhilarated about the process of finding out. They're excited about what, like you said, when they make the right, what they're going to find, and knowing that they're able to handle whatever. I think that is the biggest marker, is just the enthusiasm about doing this. And
Totally.
that is what I see in you. Like, you are freaking joyful as hell. You work super hard. I know
Yeah.
how much time and effort you put in. It is so clear, but you approach it with this effervescence that I think is a really great example to people of what life and entrepreneurship can feel like.
Oh,
And
you're
that's my
making me
mic
proud,
drop,
dude.
dude. That's my mic drop.
Thank you. Well, I promise to have you out with 2 minutes before the hour. I know you have an
Yep.
event. Do you want any? Thank you so much. I mean, that's such kind words, and coming from you means so much. Anything you want to leave our audience with? Any final truth bombs? Any f bombs? Any any
I
final gems?
Yeah, I think. Oh, and by the way, I love Nicole's comment. Eugene is the real deal. Working with him is a privilege. 100%. I think the last word that I would leave for people is to really do their own self audit and look at what clues do I already have I already been leaving that is evidence of my growth, or is evidence of my, my forward momentum and success, and to give yourself some real credit that there's probably already evidence of there. Not to leave this call feeling like, oh man, those two freaking people, they got it together. They've got it figured
Mhm.
out. I don't know anything. I really want people to feel inspired to look for the evidence of their growth, and also to look, where are you finding joy in the process? And if you can't find any, look for even smaller clues of
Yep,
joy, because to do those two things is a really great way to shake things up and create
for
a
sure.
reset, and move forward with a renewed sense of vigor.
So good. Mel, how do people find you? People want to have your
Yeah.
join your groups, get coaching, whatever it is. If someone wants to be smart enough to put themselves around you, how could they find you?
Well, they can find me here on Instagram at Mel Klein. You can also go up to my link tree, go to my website, melaniecklein.com. I am all over the place. I'm also in the Compass Marketplace, so feel free to reach out. Freaking send me a DM. I'm
There
down.
you go. And if that is not clear enough, then DM me and I will connect you guys. Mel,
Perfect.
go have a great session with your thing
Thank
next.
you.
Thank you so much. So much fun. You're awesome. You're the bomb.com. I'm sure we're gonna do this again at some point. Love you. Love you.
Love you too, Eugene. Bye, everybody.
See
Thanks
ya.
so
Bye bye.
much.